Everyone, let's just take a moment. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in and release. Feel into the now, into this moment, this space, this field. Because in this very moment, you're not limited by your past, by your pain, by your story, or by your name. Right now, you are pure potential. Now, I'm not here to talk about the God you may have been taught about in childhood, the one made in man's image, the one limited by dogma. I'm speaking about something deeper, wiser, more intelligent. The eternal creative force that designed galaxies with the same ease. It designed the very DNA spiraling inside your cells. When we talk about allowing a God in, and what we're really talking about is surrendering to this intelligence. We're talking about letting go of control and allowing coherence. We're talking about aligning your mind and body with the signature of the divine. And when you do that, miracles aren't the exception. They become the rule. Now let me be clear. A miracle is not some magical moment that floats down from the sky. A miracle is a shift in consciousness so powerful, it reorganizes matter. It collapses time, it changes biology. And it opens doors that logic alone can't even see. Think about it. Your body is a record of the past. It's a physical reflection of every thought, belief, emotion, and experience you've lived. But your mind, that's the architect of possibility. The mind, when freed from survival and connected to source, is a gateway to the quantum field, that vast space of infinite outcomes where all potential already exists. You see, when you allow God in, you move out of separation and into unity. You stop trying to force change and instead become the change. You stop obsessing over a how and start trusting in the a what. You stop living from memory and start creating from vision. And here's the science. The brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. So when you rehearse elevated emotions, love, gratitude, joy, and combine them with a clear intention, you're literally broadcasting a new electromagnetic signature into the field. You're telling the universe, this is who I am now. And the field always responds, that healing you're praying for. It's already available. That opportunity you've been chasing, it's already waiting. That relationship, that freedom, that purpose, it's all here. Now, in the quantum realm. But you can't access it with the old self. The self who doubts, the self addicted to stress, to guilt, to limitation. Miracles don't come when you want them. They come when you become the person who no longer needs the miracle, because you've already stepped into alignment with the divine. So if you want to allow God in, let go. Let go of your identity. Let go of your narrative. Let go of the trauma and the timeline and the way you think things are supposed to happen. And instead, sit in the stillness. Tune into the elevated emotion. Feel the future as if it's already done. And speak to the intelligence within your cells. Trust that the field is already orchestrating your highest path, because it is. You were never meant to create the miracle. You were meant to become the environment in which miracles can occur. So I'll ask you this. Are you ready to step beyond who you've been? Are you ready to feel the divine within you, not outside of you? Are you ready to become the frequency of healing, the vibration of abundance, the embodiment of love? Because when you allow a God in, miracles don't just begin. They never stop. You are pure potential in the present moment. This isn't just a poetic idea. It's a scientific and energetic truth. The present moment is the only place where change can truly occur. It's the narrow point where the mind and body can disconnect from the predictable patterns of the past and the anticipations of the future. Most people live their entire lives from memory, unconsciously recycling the same thoughts, emotions, and behaviors day after day. They wake up and immediately step into the familiar autopilot. The same routines, the same reactions, the same emotional addictions. In that state, the body is living in the past, and where the body goes, the mind often follows. But the moment you become truly present, truly aware, you step outside of that loop, you interrupt the program. In that space, you are no longer defined by your history, your identity, or even your current circumstances. You are no longer the result of everything that has happened to you. Instead, you become a field of possibilities, no longer tethered to who you were 5 minutes ago. This is the moment when the door to transformation swings open. Neurologically, when you bring your full attention into the now, the brain begins to rewire itself. Emotionally, the body starts to regulate. Energetically, you begin broadcasting a different signal into the field. You are no longer reacting, you are creating. And in this space, time slows down. The analytical mind softens. The subconscious becomes more accessible. This is where change is not only possible but probable, because you've stepped into the unknown, the realm where all potential exists. This field doesn't respond to who you've been. It responds to who you're becoming in this precise, conscious, and aware moment. Allowing a God in means aligning with divine intelligence. This intelligence is not external, distant, or reserved for the chosen few. It's the same organizing force that keeps your heart beating, your cells regenerating, your lungs breathing without conscious thought. It's the same presence that spins planets in perfect harmony, grows trees from tiny seeds, and orchestrates life with flawless precision. When you allow this intelligence in, you're not inviting something foreign. You're remembering what's already within. You're surrendering the illusion of separation and reconnecting with the part of you that is limitless, creative, and whole. Alignment with divine intelligence isn't about religious tradition. It's about energetic resonance. It's about bringing your thoughts, emotions, and actions into coherence with the frequency of love, compassion, gratitude, and trust. When your inner world reflects those elevated states, you become a match for the intelligence that created you. That's when you stop trying to force outcomes and begin to attract synchronicities, insights, and breakthroughs that seem almost magical, but are really just natural responses from a deeply intelligent universe. You do this not through effort, but through presence, through stillness, through the willingness to let go of control, judgment, and fear. When you quiet the noise of the ego and move beyond survival-based thinking, you become available to hear that deeper wisdom. You move out of analysis and into awareness. And in that awareness, divine intelligence begins to move through you, think through you, and guide you. It shows up in moments of inspiration and gut feelings and the right words spoken at the right time. And when you trust it, when you lean into it, you start to experience a level of flow and support that transcends logic and exceeds anything the thinking mind could ever construct on its own. Miracles are shifts in consciousness that change reality. They are not random, supernatural events reserved for the fortunate or the holy. They are the natural result of a mind and body moving into alignment with higher intelligence. When you shift your inner state, your thoughts, emotions, and energy, you alter the way you interact with the quantum field around you. Reality responds not to what you want, but to who you are being. That shift, subtle or profound, is what initiates the process we call a miracle. A miracle begins the moment you move out of a limited emotional state, fear, doubt, guilt, resentment, and into a more expanded one like gratitude, love, or wholeness. These elevated emotions carry a different energetic signature. They broadcast new information into the field, sending a coherent signal that invites a coherent response. Your perception changes, your biology changes, your decisions change, and therefore your external world begins to reflect that new internal state. What once seemed impossible or out of reach begins to move toward you with ease, not because the universe suddenly changed, but because you did. Shifts in consciousness reorganize the way your brain fires, the way your heart beats, and the way your nervous system processes information. You start noticing things you once overlooked. You begin to feel drawn toward new experiences that match your upgraded frequency. People show up, conversations align, timing becomes perfect. These are not accidents. They are the after effects of internal coherence. When your consciousness elevates, your body, mind, and environment start working as one integrated system. This state is what some might call grace, but in reality, it is the byproduct of becoming whole, of stepping out of separation and into unity with the creative force that governs all life. Miracles, then, are simply a natural outcome of remembering who you really are. The body is a record of the past. The mind is the key to the future. Every emotion you've felt, every thought you've repeated, every experience you've held on to, your body has stored it all. It doesn't forget. It memorizes trauma, patterns, routines, and even identities. When you've lived years reacting to the same circumstances in the same emotional states, your body begins to operate independently of your conscious mind. It wakes up each day already programmed with yesterday's stress, habits, and beliefs, playing the same neurochemical playlist before your feet even touch the floor. This is why true change doesn't come just from wishing or hope. You can't think your way into a new life while your body remains addicted to an old one. Your body must learn a new future just as much as your mind does. That process begins when you become aware that you're not just living out your past, you're embodying it. And if the body is the past, then the mind holds the map to what's possible. The mind, especially when directed with clarity and purpose, has the power to rewire the brain, to teach the body new emotional states, and to break the cycles that have defined you. By choosing new thoughts that are aligned with your vision rather than your memory, you start to condition the body into a new future. When you practice feeling elevated emotions before the external conditions exist, your body begins to believe the experience is already happening. That's when your biology starts to change. Your heart rhythms shift, your neurochemistry updates, your immune system strengthens, the brain stops firing in the patterns of the past and begins lighting up in new ways. This is how you begin to teach the body what the future feels like before it arrives. Elevated emotions combined with clear intention create transformation. Emotion is energy in motion, and it carries a signal that influences every cell in your body and every interaction with the field around you. Most people unknowingly live in low-frequency emotional states, stress, frustration, worry, or fear, which signal survival. These states are incoherent and chaotic, and they keep the body locked in a loop of the past. But when you shift into elevated emotions like gratitude, love, inspiration, and joy, your entire inner environment becomes more coherent. Your heart rhythms smooth out, your brain enters a more balanced state, and your body begins to function as a unified whole. Emotion alone, however, is not enough. It must be paired with a clear, specific intention, an image in the mind of the future you want to create. Intention gives direction to the emotion. If emotion is the fuel, intention is the map. Together, they form a powerful electromagnetic signature that you broadcast into the quantum field. The clearer your vision and the more sincere your feeling, the stronger the signal. The stronger the signal, the more you draw matching experiences into your reality. When you rehearse the future in your mind while feeling the elevated emotions associated with it, your brain begins to look like the experience has already happened. Your nervous system starts to believe you're already living in that new reality. The body doesn't know the difference between a deeply imagined experience and a real one. And because the field responds to the vibration you emit, you begin to magnetize situations, people, and opportunities that match the frequency of your new state. This is how you move from living by default to living by design. This is how transformation becomes not just possible, but inevitable. The quantum field responds to who you are, not what you want. You can ask, pray, hope, or wish for change, but if your internal state is still anchored in lack, fear, or unworthiness, the signal you send out is misaligned with the future you desire. The field is not listening to your words. It's responding to your energy, your frequency, your state of being. Who you are in the present moment becomes the magnet for what you experience. If your thoughts are focused on abundance, but your emotions are rooted in scarcity, the field reads scarcity. If you visualize healing, but feel fear and doubt in your body, the field mirrors fear and doubt. Lasting change doesn't come from trying to manipulate external circumstances. It comes from embodying a new internal reality so fully that the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match it. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. When your inner state reflects the energy of your desired future, that future begins to unfold with precision and synchronicity. You stop chasing outcomes and start drawing them toward you. The universe begins to meet you at the level of your vibration, not your intentions. This is why aligning thought and emotion is so critical. Clear intention focuses the mind. Elevated emotion energizes the body. Together, they create a new state of being, a coherent signal that the quantum field can recognize and respond to. The more consistent this state, the more momentum you build. The field begins to organize itself around your energy, delivering opportunities and experiences that align with your new identity. It's not about effort, striving, or force. It's about becoming energetically equal to the reality you want to experience, and allowing that reality to find you. Surrendering control is the first step toward coherence and unity. Most people are conditioned to believe that control equals safety, that if they can predict every outcome and micromanage every detail, they can protect themselves from discomfort, disappointment, or uncertainty. But true transformation happens not in the predictable, but in the unknown. Control is rooted in survival. It keeps you tethered to the familiar past. Coherence, however, arises when you release that grip and allow a greater intelligence to move through you. Unity begins when the ego steps aside and the heart opens to trust something beyond the self. In a state of coherence, the heart and brain begin to operate in harmony. This alignment creates a measurable electromagnetic field that not only affects your own physiology, but interacts with the quantum field around you. Coherence is a signal of order, of clarity, of intention. It is a state where your energy is no longer scattered, but concentrated and directed. When you let go of the need to know how things will unfold and instead focus on who you are becoming, you enter into resonance with the organizing principle of life itself. This is not about passivity or inaction. Surrender is an active process. It is the willingness to feel discomfort without resistance, to face uncertainty with presence, and to replace control with connection. It means tuning into the intelligence of the body, the rhythm of the heart, and the whispers of intuition. In this space, fear softens and creativity expands. You move from force to flow. You stop pushing outcomes and start aligning with possibilities. This is where unity is felt, not as a concept, but as a visceral experience of being part of something infinite, intelligent, and always working on your behalf. You must become the person who no longer needs the miracle. This means stepping into a version of yourself that already embodies the wholeness, health, abundance, or love you're seeking. Most people wait for their circumstances to change before they feel better, hoping that something outside of them will fix what's broken within. But lasting transformation works the opposite way. You must generate the internal state of your desired reality first, and let that new frequency attract the outcome. The miracle arrives not because you're desperate for it, but because you've become energetically equal to it. To no longer need the miracle is to no longer identify with the version of you that's waiting, longing, or suffering. It requires you to rise above the story, the pain, and the conditions that have defined your identity. It means teaching your body how to feel empowered, whole, or free, even when the external evidence hasn't yet appeared. When you live from that elevated state consistently, you signal to the field that change has already occurred. You collapse the separation between you and the outcome, because energetically you are already living in that future. This shift is subtle but powerful. It's not about pretending or ignoring what's real, but about choosing to respond from the future instead of reacting from the past. It's about emotionally rehearsing the person you are becoming until that version feels more real than your old self. When you stop looking for the miracle and start being the version of yourself who has already received it, something shifts. The body begins to rewire, your heart opens, your field expands. You're no longer chasing the miracle. You are the environment where it naturally occurs, because everything in your being is aligned with the frequency of what you've been asking for to feel the future. As if it's already happened is to step into a higher state of consciousness where time is not linear. In this space, the mind no longer clings to past experiences or future expectations. It becomes fully immersed in the present moment while simultaneously creating and experiencing the future you desire. Most people live with their attention fixed on what has already occurred or what might happen in the future, but they seldom realize that the future is not something you wait for. It is something you bring into the now. When you begin to feel your desired future as if it's already here, you are not just envisioning it, you are embodying it. This practice requires the courage to move beyond your current limitations and step into the emotional experience of having already achieved your goals. It means generating the feelings of gratitude, excitement, peace, or joy, even before your external world has reflected them. Your body, once conditioned to react to the present moment, begins to mirror the energy of a new possibility. The more vividly you can imagine and feel the future as already real, the more your body aligns with it, and the more your electromagnetic field starts broadcasting that new reality into the quantum field. The mind doesn't know the difference between an imagined experience and a real one. So when you practice feeling the future in your body, you begin to create new neurological patterns. You begin to condition your body to respond as though your dreams are already unfolding, causing your brain to fire in ways that align with that reality. You stop waiting for life to happen to you, and instead you start attracting the life you've already started to live in your mind and heart. Your internal state shifts, and so does your external world, all because you've learned to feel the future as your present reality. You don't create miracles, you become the space where they unfold. This distinction is essential because it shifts the focus from trying to force an outcome to allowing a transformation to occur naturally. The moment you let go of the belief that miracles are rare events, gifted only to a select few, and realize that they are the natural result of an elevated state of being, you open yourself to a new possibility. A miracle isn't something that happens to you from the outside. It's something that emerges from within when your energy, thoughts, and emotions align with a higher frequency. When you become the space for miracles, you stop trying to manipulate or control every detail. Instead, you trust in the intelligence of the universe to respond to the coherence you've created within yourself. You step into a state of acceptance and surrender where you no longer feel the need to struggle against what is, but rather you embrace the flow of what could be. This is when life begins to unfold in ways that seem inexplicable, as synchronicities, unexpected opportunities, and new possibilities arise. Miracles are a reflection of your internal state. When you embody the qualities of love, compassion, gratitude, and trust, you naturally align with the highest potential of reality. The field, the universe, or whatever you choose to call it, mirrors this alignment by delivering experiences that reflect your internal coherence. This isn't magic. It's the natural law of attraction. As you raise your vibration and clear your energetic blockages, you create an environment where miracles can easily happen. The more you practice being the person who already embodies the outcome you desire, the more the world responds with miracles. You become a walking manifestation of the changes you seek.